Hi again, and welcome back to the Artificial Intelligence and Interactive Digital Entertainment Conference, of which this beautiful competition of StarCraft Brood War played by artificial intelligences or bots is a part. As the yellow Zerg, we've got CherryPi, and CherryPi is going to be facing Purplewave. Purplewave, having won all matches up until now, is going to be a hard opponent to fight for the Valiant Zerg. Zerg going for a handful of Zerglings, which are cheap fighting units, and at first they are going after the scouting probe, and if they have caught that they will move over to the enemy base, but giving the Protoss just enough time to put up some kind of defense, and that is a very quick expansion for Zerg. I like that. Of course it's very noble to try and do things with one base, but you need the economy, especially on larger maps like this one, to face the enemy. And while we're on the map, this map is about 96 by 96 pixels, or 128 by 128. It's very large and it's very hard for these AIs to navigate. And now we'll see the first conflict: 8 Zerglings versus 3 Zealots, and the Zerglings, upon spotting the Zealots, are rather reluctant to get entangled. And that's okay, because the Zerg is just constructing an economy behind this. Worker count is behind that of the Protoss, but it's got another base, so if it now builds a round of workers, it will be in a brilliant position. With the contain going, that is also a good thing to have, because if you've got the enemy locked in his base, it can't do anything to hinder you, and you have got control of the game as long as you can keep it in. And now Protoss is going for technology. This is going to be a cybernetics core, allowing it to produce dragoons. And the Zerglings are still sitting there. More Zerglings being built. No workers. Strangely enough, it's still 7 workers and almost no technology. That's very, very interesting. Protoss is going for more technologically heavy units. Gas is going to be mined, and the Zealots on the high ground are in a better position. The high ground mechanic in StarCraft Brood War is as follows: if you are attacking from the low ground up to the high ground, you've got about a 30% chance to miss, and in the case of a ramp there is demarcation line about here, and if you are here on top, like this Zealot is exactly here, I believe, you are on the high ground, and if you are attacking that Zealot, you are on the low ground. So with a 30% chance to miss. Oh, and look at the battle, that's normal speed, that's fastest, and the Zealots are fighting hard, but they are also taking a lot of damage. There are just so many Zerglings, and with the limited production capacity of Protoss, this is going to be a hard fight. But oh, look at the damage they bring to the battle, and the Zerglings are getting low as well. The numbers are... oh, but the Protoss is running. All the hit points are gone. And the workers will have to be pulled, I fear. The workers will have to help out and defend. These 2 Zealots are caught and killed off. Oh dear, that's such a pity. And now Zerg, you saw earlier, at only 7 workers, is now building more workers. And Protoss will have to fight for its life. It's only got 1-2 combat units. That's going to be a hard lot, but it's still got a lot of workers which can do a little bit of fighting too. This Zealot is a coward and should be put to the pillory because of that, if he isn't going to be killed with the rest of the base, that is. But the workers are a fighting force to be reckoned with as well, because although they aren't very strong, there are very, very many, and Protoss now is struggling to stay into the game, and that's really interesting. This Zergling, this aggressive build by Zerg, and you can see the worker count of Protoss is stable. The army is being attacked. Now the worker count is dropping as well, but Protoss is finally getting that ranged army up, which will allow it to do more damage. And although a couple of buildings and a lot of workers have died, now with the ranged unit, Protoss is in some kind of a position to contest at least its own base. Zerg immediately rebuilding. The technology had been killed as well, so no more ranged units for the moment, and more Zerglings are coming up. So that's very dangerous. And worker count wise, Purplewave was at about 30, now at 16, and Zerg is quickly catching up, building no more technology, saving some money for something, and has got a reasonably sized fleet of these Zerglings. Going to speed it up in this brief lull in the battle, and the Zerg comes in again, but with the ranged units and the high ground, Protoss has got this locked down, and with this cybernetics core operational again, it can build more of these ranged units, conferring such a great boon to the Protoss army. Worker-wise, CherryPi still stuck, and only now going for the lair, for the increase, the better technology, and a lot of Zerglings. The problem is, as long as the Protoss are stuck in the base, oh, and now they move out, that might be a costly mistake, because the Zealots get surrounded, and the Zerglings, there are so many Zerglings, more are streaming in from left and right, and these ranged units, although they do a lot of damage, they are going to be cornered, and if they are cornered, they are of no use. But with the defender's advantage, the production buildings of Protoss being so close to the battle, I think that Protoss may hold again, but at what cost? Again, at what cost? Zerg is going to be efficient and going to win supply-wise. For every unit that's put into the battle, they kill more than they invested, so to speak. And at the back of that, they build 2 more units, and Protoss is still contained at the base, and Zerg now has the technology, or will soon have the technology, to build better units. Of course, Zerg might have made a lot more fighting units, but it refused to do so, and the reason for that is that its worker count is quite low. There might be double the amount of workers here, and another base might have been taken. Protoss, for the time being, is struggling to get its army back into shape. It's got 18 worth of army supply, and each unit taking 2. The Zerg units only take up a half army supply, and that is because they are so cute and little, really. So you get 2 Zerglings for the price of 1 supply, and these big Protoss units cost 2 supply each. So this fills up really quickly, and that's why Zerg may have less supply in army, but twice as many units as Protoss. Now, Protoss is bringing back this worker thing, but you can see that the mineral supply in the main base is getting low. And if Zerg can manage to trade 1 or 2 more times, it's going to be in a brilliant position. And now we've got the first flying units, and while the Zerglings now face stiff competition from the Zealot count, which is increasing. The Zealots are taking a lot of damage though, and this Mutalisk is not attacking the workers. It's flapping about like a oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. And now the Protoss is out on the map. You can see Zerg army supply is somewhat depressed, and these flying units, they for some reason refuse to fight. They are pacifists, and in a fighting game like this, oh well, that's not a good idea. I needn't tell you. So Protoss moving out. There is 1 Mutalisk attacking this pylon. Target selection might be a little bit better because these workers are a lot juicier, and the loss of them will constitute a lot more mining time and income loss to the Zerg. But now Protoss is fighting away from its home base, and the Zerglings together with the Mutalisk hunt down stray units, and Protoss is going to be hard put again, and Zerg actually has more supply at this moment. And remember, time is ticking out for the Protoss, because once these minerals are gone, there will be no more income, and Zerg pushing matters with the Mutas, with the Zerglings, trying to make their way across the ramp. These Dragoons do a lot of damage, but they are, I feel, insufficient. And this 1 Mutalisk is still going at this 1 pylon. And again, I fear the workers will have to come off the line if it isn't too late, because Zerg is going to run away with this. Zerg is going to put in the damage, and this may soon be over for Protoss. The buildings are being engaged. I don't know if that's wise, because ideally you'd like to kill the units before the buildings, but there are so many Zerglings, and although there are 5 more Dragoons, the Mutalisks have been killed, and the workers come help and block the Zerglings from reaching the Dragoons. Dragoons are doing a lot of damage, but buildings are dying as well. Zerg worker count now equals that of Protoss. You can see more workers here, and Zerg just streaming in units of 2 bases and is retreating. So Protoss once more held the base with the help of these Dragoons, but you can see the worker count is not what it's used to be, and these minerals are shrinking, and if they are shrinking, it means they are getting less abundant, and if they peter out, it will be game over for Protoss. And Zerg keeps under pressure, not building too many workers, not taking another base, just keeping a really big standing army. And oh, Protoss trying to expand, taking another base, but it's fighting for its own main base and will have to be very quick about saving the natural expansion, as it's called. The Lings are in the main base again. Okay, well, let's not slow it down too much. Zerg just building unit after unit after unit, relentless. It's a very slow death for Protoss. You can see the first mineral patch is petering out for Protoss. There is a large Dragoon army which can do a lot of damage, and more units are being built, and the natural is almost up. You can see the blue hit points are rather depressed, the yellow ones too, so a lot of damage has been done, and this building will finish burning. Yep, there it goes, the beautiful blue fire. But Protoss has got income. It's got income, and Zerg base, although, well, it's not really as mined out already, but that was just in the nick of time for Protoss, and now Protoss will have a fighting chance to do a lot of damage once again. These ranged units, these Dragoons, can do so well against Zerglings, but you really should sit back a little bit and not try to be too feisty with these Zealots, because they are so low in hit points, and although you do a lot of damage, I'd find this very, very dangerous if I were the commander of the Protoss forces. An extra building being built to soak up some damage in case there is another attack. And Protoss is... oh, that timing of the expansion was just in the nick of time. Oh, and the main army will have to come back because it's here and now. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. The workers are in grave danger. Almost all of the workers have been transferred here. Ooh, and the workers of Protoss are doing such a lot of damage. Now the main army of Protoss is back again, and as soon as these Dragoons will have left, these Mutalisks can attack these workers again. Protoss now mining the last patch of minerals in the main base. Zerg worker count is rather low, could really have done with another base, with another expansion, with more income. And these Dragoons, they really do a number on these Zerglings, and that's really beautiful. Purplewave fighting very hard, but now these workers are unprotected. It had 30 earlier, and a lot of them are dying, a lot of them, too many are dying. And now the Dragoons come back, but you need to have 2 or 3 to stand guard over these workers. These Mutalisks, as soon as these goons are gone, they're coming to go back in again and do more damage. Meanwhile, Zerg's army is going to grow. And the Protoss army is fighting on 2 places at once, and that's never a good idea. Ask anyone, basically. This Zealot is going to die, and now it is Zerglings versus Dragoons in the middle of the map. These Dragoons are pretty effective, but the Zergling numbers are just too big at this point. Oh, finally, that's pretty good play by Purplewave, just posting a couple of Dragoons to help and save and protect these workers. But all in all, it's really hard to say who is going to win, because in the middle of the map, these Dragoons do so... oh, they lose one. If they stay together, they can do pretty well, but if they get cut off like this one, they are going to die eventually, and that's a mistake, I feel. If you keep them together, yeah, and now they're going to get sandwiched, which is even worse. And you can see the Protoss army supply, although it's 24 versus 16.5, Protoss is basically losing units at this point, because they are fighting so isolated, and although more are being built, and the only thing keeping Protoss in the game is Zerg's refusal to take more bases. Zerg has got the map. Ooh, big battle coming up again, but no, Protoss has mustered another force. If Zerg has got the enemy contained, Protoss can't really move out, and if it does, the units get cut off and cut up. So they can take more bases, could produce more units, but the refusal to do so and staying only on 2 bases really unnecessarily prolonging this game. And Protoss is starting to long distance mine to send workers without a nexus being built here. And there they go again, another bit of Protoss army is dying, and although these goons do pretty well, in the long run it's just not worth it. These Dragoons have ventured out too far again, and the composition is just not there. It's such a scrappy match. Neither player can really get an advantage. But what's important, and if you want to take stock of a game like this, you got to keep an eye on the overall supply count. And CherryPi, the Zerg, is at 48, Protoss at 61, and after each battle you've got to take stock of that again and see how it's progressing or degressing for whichever player you are rooting. But Zerg now at 24 workers, only very occasionally building a worker, might take another, yep, there it goes. And even if this battle, look at that, 48-66, is going to go in favor of Protoss, because Zerg has got that expansion, it's going to be hard for Protoss, because this base has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mineral patches. Zerg has got a little bit left here, has got the 7 patches. Why has it got 6? 6? And 7, is that fair? Oh, well, it must have mined out one already. Can't be so unfair. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Well, we'll have more income over time after a little bit. And although the Protoss army is growing, I think they will need to do something drastic, win a major victory decisively, build some more technology to gain an advantage. But every time they get a little bit of army together, they move out like this, and 1 or 2 units get cut off in the middle of the map at the bridges. 1 Dragoon dies, 2, 3 die, 4 die, 5 die, Zealot will die as well. And although a lot of Lings will die, as the Protoss army can't really grow, and they might, or they probably will hold this, because Zerg is too not really committed, this base is now operational. And that means that it will have more income available soon. That is, if it's going to build more workers, because right now it's only got 24. But earlier it was 70 versus 40, and now it's 56 versus almost 70. So Protoss is being pushed back slowly but surely, but now taking another base. And if Protoss can get this base up, a 2 versus 3 base situation is very tenable as a Zerg player, and Zerg is going for another engagement. It has got quite a number of forces, and if this portion of the Zerg army isn't fighting, that is going to be a major problem for Zerg. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. The entire Protoss army is moving into this base, leaving the natural expansion exposed. And there are only 2 fighting units and a handful of workers. This unit is going to die. The units are moving back, trying to cut off these Zerglings, which will happen. And if this base will be operational for Protoss, oh dear, this game is very slowly paced, but it is very good. Although it's very, very slow and the units are very low tech, it's very tense. And Protoss now going to win a decisive victory, because the flying units, the Mutalisks, are all gone. And although, oh well, there are a lot of Zerglings, and the Zerglings, if they stay committed to this fight, they can kill a lot of units, because they can surround them and kill some workers in the process as well. That's very well done. And all these units here are being cut up, and Protoss being chased back to its main base. And this unit will, oh, it will just live, but so many Dragoons will die. And although this base is up, you can now see the supplies are about equal. And oh, 3 Dragoons are coming back from the dead. And now Zerg is in dire straits, because its main base is mining out. It's got the natural, it's got the 3rd base. And Protoss has got 2 bases with a lot of workers. And Protoss, the supply is so low, the army supply is nearly non-existent. And if these army supplies are equal, because Zerg has got the cheaper, the more abundant units, it can fight more cost efficiently than Protoss can at this moment. And the Protoss units again are getting cut off. And that is not good news. You can see the Zerg army supply is going to be higher. The workers come off the line to help stave off the Zerglings, while the Dragoons in the back do the damage. But is it going to be enough? Zerg is pushing with everything it's got. It's going to build more Zerglings. And now the Protoss supply is dwindling. It was 50. It's now below 40. And there are just too many Zerglings. Too many Zerglings. The Dragoons can't hold the tide. and more Zerglings are coming. Zerg is going full beast mode. It's 29 versus 19 workers, and although the third is up, the third is now, will be, oh no, it's not found, but it's such a large swath of army going to be run into the natural, and in a very tense match, I think CherryPi is going to take it, going to take a fourth base, feeling confident. And the natural of Protoss is shut down. The Nexus is falling, has fallen. And there is just no more army for Protoss. There are 1, 2 fighting units, a couple of workers, but there are just too many Zerg units. And Zerg is taking a step back. There is a small army demolishing the natural. A couple of units up in the main. But Protoss really hasn't got the income. It's got 3 workers mining here, and those are the only workers really mining for Protoss at the moment, so there is no money to build additional army. Every bit of damage being done cannot be repaired, and Zerg is pulling all the switches, going for, I think, either another base or a worker transfer. But Zerg has got production, and CherryPi taking out Purplewave. That is very well done. Look at that. Here you go. Going to speed it up a notch because that's the main base. And although, well, what's going to be done? Workers are going to be built. But I think that Zerg is going to find them and destroy them. But of course we'll go and have to find out and see. Yep, the Mutalists find them, and now the Zerglings come in. So that is the GG. CherryPi, a bot I have never seen play before up until today, because I've made a couple of other videos, takes out Purplewave, one of the Major League Protosses, and that can only be a good game.